Welcome to today's Parenting Challenges, a talk by Joseph Wong Co. Academy. Now, as far as parenting is concerned, there is no magical book of parenting, meaning there is no one book that tells us how to parent our child. But there are many parenting potions, tips, advice that we can pick up along the way. Advice that relate to communication and engagement, quality time with our children, boundaries and expectations, as well as encouraging independence in our children. So, as far as today is concerned, there are two undeniable truths. The first is every child is different. So, it means that whatever parenting advice you're going to hear, whether from me or from any books you read or from any other parenting advisors, they may or may not be relevant to you. You have to realize that your child is different from your other children. Your child is also different from your neighbor's children. Your child is different from the children in the school as well. So the second undeniable truth is there is no one size fits all parenting model. Because every child is different, you got to take each child like a project on its own. It's got its own objective, it's got its own timeline, and got its own actionable parts. So every child will have a different set of rules and expectations. And because you are the parent, you are the one to see whether or not your child is relevant to use that kind of parenting advice that you're going to give to them. So, in other words, the question to ask is, what is best for my child? And your answer will be different from your sister's answer, your brother's answer, your neighbor's answer, your friend's answer. Okay, so that's the difference about parenting in today's environment. And I want you all to pay close attention to some of the tips that I'm going to give you because I'm going to take from many, many sources. So, generally, the way you parent, I would say, falls into three groups. You will belong to one of these three groups. First group is you learn parenting from your own parents because there's no university of parenting, right? We all pick parenting tips as our children develop. They say you feel that they're going in one direction, you're going to help them go in that direction, and you parent them the way that is best for them. But you learn in group one most of these methods from your own parents. Number two, so group two are those where you learn a little bit from your parents and a little bit from your books or your friends' advice or whatever you see or read from the social media. In group three, you don't have a parenting method. You use whatever is convenient and whatever works for your children. So whether you're in group one, group two, or group three, what matters is whether or not your children develop or along the path that's good for them, right? So how do you know they're good for them? I'm going to show you a statistic here, right? 40% of youth aged 25 to 29 years in some regions of the world face difficulty transitioning from school life to work life. And this is from UNICEF. All these people have difficulty after school adapting to a work life. Now, do we study work life when we're in school? The answer is no. So, how do we help our children overcome this difficulty transitioning from school life to work life? So, let's look at these four words: difficulty, transitioning, school, and in work. There is a difference between school life and work life. Number one, school is structured, meaning everything has rules, everything has to follow certain procedure, processes, and all that. Real life is not structured. Number two, school has guided outcomes, meaning you must attain that fixed outcome. Whereas real life imposes pressure to perform according to number one, the company, number two, the market, number three, the expectation of the industry, right? So, number three, school is homogeneous. almost equal status. Everyone is a student. Whereas in real life, the ones who succeed are the ones with experience and with talent, right? So real life needs these experiences. And when you go into your first job, of course, you don't have the experience. How do we help our children gain that experience? Number four, school expectations are discernible, meaning you can tell what is needed for you to succeed in school. Whereas real life expectations are complex and mostly uncertain because it depends on your boss and depends on the kind of industry that you go into. And last but not least, school ends in X number of years, whereas real life has longer term goals and demands. It can end many, many more years longer than school. So, school, you can see a beginning and end. Real life, it depends on how you want to structure or become yourself. Let's look at the word transitioning. I'm talking about what is expected of your children when they go into real life. Okay, these are the key ones. First, communication skill. Number two, time management and organization. Number three, problem solving, critical thinking. Number four, teamwork. Number five, work ethic. Number six, adaptability and resilience. And last but not least, EQ, which is emotional quotient. So these seven should form every parent's goal for their children's future in real life. So if you look at it this way, I'm going to blank out some words here. I want you to continue to focus on these seven real life expectations versus what school is bringing to your child, right? Structure, pressure to perform, experience, life expectations, complex, uncertain, and longer term goals and demands. So I put here, this man is you, the parent. You are not in class with your child, so you don't know what your child is experiencing. Is it fear? Is it anxiety? Is it unsure of what lesson is being taught? Now you compare that against what is expected of them when they leave school, communication all the way down to EQ. Can you see where you can help to bridge that gap between school and work life? So that's the important question I'm asking you now. So there are two types of parents. The first type of parents are children are too young to learn adult things, so we don't tell them anything. We don't explain to them anything, right? Some of you here tonight might be this parent where you say, too young to learn. Never mind. Don't tell them. It's okay. There's another type of parent. Children can learn anything so long as the language is right. I want all of you to be this side of the equation. I want all of you to believe that children can learn anything so long as the language is right. Now, language does not mean just English or your Tamil or whatever. Language means they are able to understand whatever you're telling them. Let me give you my perspective of why children can learn anything so long as the language is right. Number one, children need to be curious. And this is the number one thing that I want all of you to take. If you don't remember anything tonight, remember this, that children need to be curious. This will be the basis by which they're going to earn all those things that I said earlier about communication, about time management, and all that. And role modeling, asking how and why, meaning you as a parent must role model curiosity also. You don't just ask your child, say why, how, when you yourself don't show that you are also someone who asks why and how. So as a parent, you must role model. Number two, share creative elements and talk about newsworthy events. How often do you talk to your children about news? Right? Or how about when you go outside, when you go to the supermarket, when you're outside traveling in a car, when you look at something interesting, do you ask your child, Say, look at that. So interesting. Can you explain to me why is it done this way? So you're making the child look at something that is really existing. And then they try to figure out why it is built that way. Why is it working that way? This way, you are making your child question everything in life so that you're going to break out of the school mode. School mode is, I tell you, you listen. That's school mode. But work life is you're going to find the answer yourself. So if you don't teach them how to find the answer themselves, you will belong to the 40% of youth who find difficulty transitioning from school to work life. Okay. So number three, foster honest and open dialogue. I always feel that a child learns best from their parents because they love their parents. And children don't learn from people they don't like. So when you constantly talk to your children about anything, when my daughter was 4 years old, I taught her Newton's third law of motion. So you ask yourself, are you sure 4-year-old can learn that? How do I do that? When we go on the train, right, I tell her not to sit down. I say, stand with me. And she feels the force of the train when it stops, when it moves. How does the body react to it? So over time, she knows that when the train comes to a stop, the body will move forward. When the train is moving off, the body will move backwards. We did this for fun for 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, she is very good with balancing herself on the train. I then taught her, darling, this is Newton's third law of motion. What does it say? It say that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. It's just like when you hit the wall with your hand. How painful your hand is, how hard you hit the wall, because how hard you hit the wall, the force will come back into your hand. That is Newton's third law of motion. And she understood. So that's why I'm telling you, parents, that everything can be brought down to a language that your child can understand. And the more they understand about the world, the more they want to learn about the world. And that's what I want you all to do. Okay, number four, do not do everything for them. And I know a lot of Asian parents do everything for their children. Two things happen. The children will not learn anything. They expect the parents to do for them. Number two, they will not learn new things because we all learn best when we make mistake. When we make a mistake, we learn from that mistake and we will not make that mistake again. So when you do everything for your children, you are not helping them. You are teaching them to be dependent on you. Right? So teach them to be independent by doing things themselves. In so doing, they are also making responsibility by learning from their mistakes. Number five, show interest in their activities, especially what they're good at. Why is this important? Remember the two undeniable truths I said earlier. First one is every child is different. So when you don't show interest in their activities, how do you know what they're good at? Because every child is different. Even if you have two children, both of them are different. Both of them may have different interests, different strengths, different talents. You must spot them because when you spot these interests and talents, you will give them activities that will push them to the right direction so that they discover what their potential is when they grow up. If you're not interested in the activities, you're not able to see what your children are good at. Okay? Number six, praise their effort instead of their result. That means don't say, wow, so good, you scored an A. That is praising the result. So now the child will say, wow, I make daddy happy by scoring A. I must continue to score A. Well, that is a good result. The children are doing it for the wrong reason. They are doing it to make you happy because you are happy with their result. When I say praise their effort, instead of saying, wow, you got an A, you say, wow, you must have studied very hard for this. Continue to do that. You see, then you're praising their effort in studying hard for their exam rather than saying, please get an A, right? Then they're doing it for you. They're not doing it because they are studying hard. So this is very important, right? Next one is set boundaries. I put here set clear boundaries, meaning that you have to be very deliberate. That means you tell them, hey guys, these are the things you can do, and this is what you cannot do. Very, very clear what you can do, what you cannot do. In the home, you develop rules so that you can help them develop responsibility. For instance, right, if the kitchen is very small, then you say, okay, not everybody needs to wash the dishes after the meal. You say, today is your turn to wash the dishes. Next day is another child's turn, so that they learn responsibilities within the house. But you got to set the rules first. Okay. Last but not least, listen. Now, a lot of parents don't listen to the children because children are too young to learn, so they don't need to ask questions. But I'm telling you, when children ask questions, it's a good sign. It means that they want to know more. And you, as a parent, must do your duty by listening to them. Okay? Okay. You see that I take a lot of adult books to do parenting. Like I say, because of my 36-year experience with Standard Chartered Bank, I've been in leadership positions, and I know that it's going to be tough out there if your children don't have the right caliber and talent to make their life successful in any job. So I took this from Stephen Covey. The book is called The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Begin with the end in mind, meaning that if you know what you want, right, that's the end in mind. You work backwards to the beginning from the end so that you know what you need to do to achieve the end. Right. So, in the context of tonight's talk, my question is, how can we parents help our children transition from school life to work life? Because school alone is not enough to prepare our children. Okay, I'm going to give you 4 reasons why school is not enough. School has limited practical skills. Everything is theory. You sit in the classroom, you listen, you write down, you take exam. It's limited. There are very, very few opportunities for children in school to practice. So I'm going to say, of the things that I said earlier, you make them curious and you practice with them. You share creative elements and then you practice with them. Don't do everything for them. Let them make mistakes. Let them find out for themselves. Okay, that's how you parent can help your children transition from school to work life. Number two, standardized testing. School standardize all the testing, whether you're A type, B type, or C type. Everyone goes through the same exam. Now, this is dangerous because if your child is not built to say remember history, he always fails history, so he must be stupid. No, it's not that. Your child may not know history, but he may be good in math, right? So if you know what your child is good at, right, focus on those things. So show interest in the activities, especially what they're good at. This is how you try and understand your children and then put them in a path that will be beneficial for them. Number three, lack of life skills. Okay, life skills would be like communication, like EQ, all these. They don't teach this in school. So, as far as you're concerned, I put everything that I said earlier, from making them curious to listening to them, because you never know what life skill your child is lacking until you engage them in conversation, in action. Okay, so you must continually talk to them, share with them things, and hear their point of view in order for you to understand what life skills they need to succeed in the working world. Last but not least, rigid curriculum. Of course, school has a rigid curriculum because they're catering to so many students, right? 500, 1,000. They must draw a middle line and say, okay, we'll have this curriculum that will cater to everybody. We may miss maybe 20%, but it doesn't matter so long as we hit the 80%. When you have a rigid curriculum, right? When they come home, you got to open up another world for them. which is talking to them, sharing with them your point of view, asking them what their point of view is, finding out what kind of people they are, and you listen to them. That's how you're going to separate, right, what they learn in school and what they learn from you about life at home. So I know as parents, sometimes we get angry and say, just do as I say. But when we do that too often, then your children don't question anymore because parents say, just do as I say. Number one, do this so that, okay, so that by saying so that you're giving them the reason why you want them to do something. Okay. So move away from saying, just do as I say. Shut them up. You got to explain to them why you're giving them, making them do that one thing. Or you can say, let's do this and ask them, do you know why we need to do this? And make them explain. By making them explain, you are opening up their world. You're giving them a chance to think creatively and think critically. And this will open up their perspective of life, of conversations, of relationship. Now, I'm going to give you some other examples. You take whatever you think you can manage, okay? Number one, infographics. Infographics bring a lot of value. They put statistics in pictures and numbers. So one look at it, you should be able to interpret. Why I choose infographics? Because it's colorful and it's in pictures. They might find it useful, they might find it interesting, and they may want to go and find out more about these statistics. Okay, so number one, explain and decode infographics with your child. Number two, write ChatGPT prompt together. Okay, so you look at one picture and say, let's try and recreate this in ChatGPT. How do we tell ChatGPT how to create this same picture? Then you say, okay, we explain it this way, look at the result, and say, hey, not quite the same, right? What can we change in the language that we tell ChatGPT so that we can get closer to this picture? And this is where you teach your child using today's technology how to use AI effectively, right? Because when they go to work, right, AI could be doing 70% of the work already if they don't know how to use AI, right? Imagine how much handicap your children will have when they go to the real life, right? Number three, look at these logos, right? Toyota. Toyota is made up of TOYOTA in that logo. Help your child see the logo in terms of Toyota. Why is this good? Because your child will learn creativity. This idea may pop in their head next time they need to solve a problem. Same with Pinterest. Look at FedEx. FedEx has an arrow in the EX. There's an arrow pointing to the right. And Baskin Robbins, the ice cream, has 31 flavors. Can you see 31 in there? So you're telling your child that creativity comes in many forms, and logos are one way to tell them. Also, share your opinions with your children about significant events. What are significant events? I'm going to share three with you. Number one, Charlie Kirk got shot and killed. I know this is a morbid news, but I always believe that if we adults are in control, that means we don't side one party or the other. We can create a conversation with our children to ask them, why do you think this happened? So you're asking your children to think like an adult. This will build leadership and it also build a good sense. The second news I like to share is Donald Trump's tariff war. Okay, you think your children are too young? I don't think so, because it is easy to understand. It's like saying, right? If you treat your if you treat your friend badly by saying whatever they need to borrow from you, you impose a fine. You say, you must pay me $1, right? What will happen to this relationship next time, right? Will this friend help you when you're in trouble next time? Those are the simple questions, but put in a global context of Donald Trump's tariff war. Okay, the last example I'm showing is, why are cats scared of cucumbers? Yes, when you see a video of a cat eating and then someone put a cucumber next to it, the cat will jump. Why? So you create this interest of conversation at home, right? So all I'm trying to do is continue to talk with your child, create this conversation so that they look to you for advice when they need one. Okay, how to be a good role model? Like, for instance, demonstrating respect for your elders. That means your children's grandparents, even those people outside, the people you buy food from, the people who sweep the roads, and your spouse, right? How you treat your wife or your husband in front of your children will give them an example of how, when they get married, they should be treating their spouse as well. So all that from role modeling. Number two, teach and show kindness. As far as Singapore is concerned, right? You say when an old person comes into the train and there's no seat, you tell your child, would you like to give up your seat for this old man? Because he needs a seat. Then you are giving your child the opportunity to show kindness, right? Number three, manage self-control. So when you manage self-control, you're also telling your children that not everything needs to jump at, at the slightest provocation. Practice what you preach. So whatever you say, you must demonstrate so that your children see that you are consistent. Show integrity and responsibility. For instance, you go and buy something and the shopkeeper give you too much change. Then your child says, hey, instead of $1, the shopkeeper gave us $2 back. Now, it is your integrity to teach your child, say, we must return $1 because that's the right thing to do. So that's one thing you can show. Apologize and make amends. So when you apologize and you make amends for something you did wrong, you're telling your child that when we learn from our mistakes, we have to apologize. And open mindset and positivity. Like when something goes wrong, you say, okay, never mind, we still have 3 hours. Why not we find something else to occupy ourselves with? Something positive and not say blame somebody or blame this, the weather, the park for being closed today. Be your child's hero. That's what I want you all to do, right? Be your child's hero so that whenever there is a problem, your child will always listen to your advice because you are their hero. Okay? So, this is what I mean by begin with the end in mind. Whatever you want your child to become, work backwards and think of all the things that you need to become to help your child get to the end in mind. So remember these seven, right? Communication right up to EQ. These are the qualities that your children will need when they finish school and go into the working world. From my perspective, I've got three angles. Number one is I plan my parenting. Now, the word planned is very important. It means that when my child arrives into this world, I plan what I want to do with her. I really plan. So I just execute my plan. Number two, choice leadership. I want my daughter to be a leader when she grows up. So everything that I teach her as a father, I will bend towards leadership. And it's not just any leadership, the ones that will make her a good leader, right? And number three, focus communication. The word focus means I don't use baby language on my child. I use full sentences. When I go to the food center to buy food and she's with me, I will say, may I have this? And then I say, thank you. So she understands that communication is important, even when you're ordering food. So with these three elements, right, I'm going to ask you now, what can happen when you take parenting for granted, meaning you don't have a plan parenting, you don't have focused communication, you don't have choice leadership. If you take parenting for granted, these are some of the things that you give excuse to. You're tired, you're busy, you're absent, you're disinterested, or you and your wife or you and your husband are having marital problems. When you use these as an excuse, chances are your children will be taken for granted, meaning you will let things slip. Say, I'm supposed to check my child's homework. Never mind, I'm tired. No need to check. Or you settle for second, third best. You're supposed to help them with homework. Or you say, okay, I just do 10 minutes or 5 minutes, right? Or you brush aside everything and use inappropriate words on your children because you're tired or you're having a bad day. You scold your children for no reason because you're taking it out on them based on your own personal grievance. Last but not least, you punish or scream at them for every mistake, an act of disobedience. So your children will look at you as a disciplinary master. So they won't come to you for advice. They won't seek you for to learn anything. They won't look at you as their hero. So there's a danger that if you use tired, busy, absent, disinterested, or you have problem with your in your marriage, that disinterest can turn into neglect, and their neglect and learning then can turn into abuse. Believe me, there are many families that have this problem. What we want is to hone the interest because with interest comes discovery. With discovery comes development. And your child needs to develop. Today's talk is not about parenting in a physiological sense, but I'm going to show you because I feel that the first 5 years of a child's life are the most important. Once you miss the 5 years, there's no earning it back again. When the baby is born to 1 year, you look at the things that the doctors say you must do. I mean, experts. You let your baby hear your affectionate and friendly voice, right? They need to hear affection. Even the tone of your voice is important. Then you play with them, peekaboo, pet a cake, or you make eye contact with them. Read every day to them, point out pictures and colors, have a routine, use full sentences on your baby. And between 1 to 5 years, look, you got to say practice counting with them, encourage them to play with others. Let your child do as much as possible for themselves, like make them dress themselves or brush their teeth, right? And you constantly have to play with your child. Now, look at between newborn to 5 years, how much of these activities require you to spend your time with them? A lot, right? Practically 90 to 100% of the activities for your child to develop. So if you think you're tired, you're busy, you're absent, you're disinterested, you're having problems, you will not spend that time and your child will be less endowed with the kind of skill that they will need to transition into work life next time when they grow up. So some of the things that can happen with your child arising from neglect or abuse are these. I won't go into it, but I want you to know that these problems are very, very common among families, especially those whose parents are busy with work or, they can't afford to have help, right? So just be very careful. Here's another statistic. 43% of parents are likely neglecting their children's development without realizing it. This is from an unnamed study, but it was a few years ago. So 43%, that's almost half. So that means half of the people tonight in this forum that we have are neglecting your children's development and you don't even realize it. How scary is that? Right? So if you're not sure, if you're afraid that you might be one of the 43%, I'm going to recommend you a very simple method. This is not the panacea for everything, but the 777 rule for parenting is very, very easy to adopt. And I want all of you, if you haven't got a rule, adopt this rule tonight. 7 minutes in the morning, engage your children. 7 minutes after their school or after your work, engage your children. And 7 minutes before their bedtime, engage your children. just 21 minutes in a day, right? And what do you talk about? Meaningful interaction, meaning talk about maybe something happened in your office, ask them for their opinion. What do you think daddy should have done? Right? Talk about news that came out. Hey, do you hear about the flooding in which place? And say, what if you were one of them? How can we help these people make sure that it doesn't flood again? Something like that. Make your children think and make your children engage with the real world because school is not enough. I also have this thing about Western and Asian parenting. Now, the styles are different. I'm not going to go into detail here, but I'm going to tell you that there are other perspectives of parenting. But I'm going to explain each of these, right? Our children are not our possession. You don't shape a child into anything you want. They are not something for you to shape. You must go do the opposite, which is find out what kind of personality your child is and make them become that person they are meant to become. Number two, if we do not plan how to parent our child, we will use the most convenient method. Just look at the Asian way: allegiance, hierarchy, respect, filial piety. I remember what my parents told me is going to school. You say, just listen and don't ask questions. That's what my parents told me. This is the Asian way, which is allegiance, meaning you are the student, the teacher has the power. So just listen to your teacher, don't ask questions. The Western way is individuality, is freedom of expression, right? Of course, this can go definitely wrong as well. But what I'm saying is, why don't we mix up the two? Because your child is going to be an individual one day, and you want your child to understand what kind of individual he or she becomes. Next one is, do we have the energy and stamina to keep up? As a parent, we need to be playing with our children. So you got to keep fit as well. Your energy level and your stamina must match your children so that you can run with them, climb with them, and do many things with them. When the child sees you doing these things with them, they become attached to you. You become their hero. The three taboos are: don't take your children's words personally. Sometimes they may say something nasty to you. They don't mean it. Number two, do not impose your authority. Don't say just because you're the parent, you have every last word. Number three, do not do this alone, right? Do it with your spouse, do it with your grandparents, do it with your neighbors, your friends. All of you should help each other. Unconditional love. I think I can find another time to tell you about this one because it's a very, very hot topic. Our children must not be your entire world. Yes, when we put everything on the child can feel it. Is it fair to make your child be responsible for your happiness? Right? That's one question I want you to think about. Blind obedience. Right? Again, my parents say, just listen, don't ask questions. Eventually, you're going to bottle up a lot of things inside you. So focus when your child needs to take on greater responsibility. Make them be responsible, make them be independent. And parents shape their children's future. Yes, of course. The impact of strict rules, the impact of, say, being responsive and warm, or the impact of being nurturing. Like, and earlier I said, emphasize effort, right? Wow, you work very hard. A good job. You planned this very well. You were so disciplined in your performance, something like that. Yeah, that's the effort instead of saying, wow, you got an A, right? Our words matter. So don't think that children are children. You can say anything to them. By showing respect for your children's view, you are showing them that everyone is important, right? Your tone must match the message. Not everything the parent tells the children needs to be an order or something that you cannot question, right? As far as possible, help them to find their own solutions. Help them answer for themselves. Parents and school teachers must sing from the same song sheet, right? Because you don't let your children choose whether to listen to teacher or whether to listen to parents, right? School and parent must align their thoughts. Everyone loves differently, even our children. This is taken from the five languages of children's love. Okay, Gary Chapman. And teach children to identify their emotion. This is a very Western way, but I think it's very good. Ask your child what he feels. Is it anger? Is it disappointment? Is it frustration? Because once they identify the emotion, they can deal with it. Otherwise, everything is about crying, shouting. You don't know how to direct back into an emotion. Once you identify an emotion, you're able to fix that problem. So, what dangers do our children face in today's AI world? Let me ask you, how many children today can tell the time on an analog clock? How many? I think maybe 30% only, 3 out of 10. How many children today know how to use cash and coins? I make sure my daughter brings the money, buy the food, expect how much change to come back, and so my daughter knows. If you buy 80 cents and you give her $1, she expects 20 cents back. The other things are AI creates digital addiction, it reduces human connection. There is also reduced physical activity. There's disinformation, remember fake news, cyberbullying, online predators, and mental health issues. So these are the things that your children face. Right on top of the parenting issues that I mentioned earlier, now you got to face artificial intelligence issues. Just remember what are the things that you want your child to develop: communication, time management, and all these things on the right hand side up to EQ. So a lot of parents they say, I'll take away your phone, but that's not the answer because you are making your child despise you, hate you. The answer is in clear boundaries. So if you haven't drawn any boundaries, parents, start tomorrow. Don't just introduce the boundaries like, hey, today we're gonna no, make it official. Okay, kids, this is what we're gonna do from today onwards. And then you explain to them the boundaries. By making it that clear, they understand where to draw the line when they are disobeying the parents. Right? If you make it vague, then your children will not know whether or not they are crossing over a line that you have drawn. So once again, right, there are two undeniable truths in today's world. One is every child is different. And number two, there is no one size fits all parenting model. What it comes down to is interest will lead to discovery, will lead to development. But as a parent, you cannot just let this happen. You must make it conscious. That means understanding your children, you are now able to be consciously developing something for them. Number two, you must plan your course of action. And number three, everything you do must be deliberate. It's not meant to be accidental. And so we come to the end of today's talk. I've got two dates where I'm going to give you more details, and it's going to be 3 hours. This talk is called Positive Parenting in Today's Challenging World. The two dates are 25th of October or 2nd of November. I picked one Saturday and one Sunday in case some of you parents cannot make a Saturday or a Sunday. So the time is in India 6:30 to 9:30, in Singapore and Malaysia 4 to 7, Thailand and Vietnam 3 to 6 p.m. Now this is a paid talk and you're going to get a lot of tips that you don't get from other parenting talks. Number one, every child is different. So you're going to find something that best suits your child. Number two, I do not believe in totally Western or totally Asian parenting. I pick the best of both worlds. All right, so this is the price. And for India, it's an economic prize, right? It comes with free books offer for Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. It's 140 Singapore dollars with special book offers. What are the books? These are the books that I've written. Three books of I'm So Ready for Life, giving you tips on how to teach your children how to think creatively, how to think with worldview, and how to be a leader. That small book, I'm So Ready for Life, on the bottom left hand corner, are 50 more tips, 50 more tips that you can put in your pocket and take out to read every now and then. These are more tips on how to use them on your children to help them to develop. And then this book, Parenting Tips for Imperfect Parents, is also something that I've written in October last year that helps you what you need to do to be a perfect parent without being perfect. All right, so what you can do is to go to www.josephwong.co to register for this talk. At this moment, I shall answer any questions that you have.